We be live. I think we are live. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me in the live chat. How's my audio? Hi, everyone. I see the live chat is already full. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, which is a good reminder to like. Let me see if my microphone got disconnected or no. No, it's fine. Guys, how's my audio? Thank you for being here. And we already got a super chat. That's amazing right at the beginning of the show before even going live. Thank you so much thank you so much, Dolly. Dolly is here highlighting the comments for me. So guys, keep leaving good comments because Dolly is gonna highlight your comments, and you guys get to be part of the stream because Dolly is in the live chat right now, checking the comments and highlighting all of them. So well, when this is out there forever, your comments now is going to be part of the show. So Phil with the £10 super chat, thank you so much, saying hi from the Great Britain. I don't like calling it the UK. Okay, listen to a small bit of one of your programs from the for the first time today and liked it. Well, I appreciate that. Keep up with the reason thinking. Cheers. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your support. And Soha is saying audio is great. Thank you so much, Dolly, for highlighting all of that. And guys, please confirm the live chat that you have liked the stream because your likes really, really, really count. It really helps this channel grow. I think we're doing such a great job here. If I may say so myself, which I do, I allow myself to say that. We are doing a great job here, responding to a lot of nonsense on social media, especially with the new generation. And yeah, this is it's scary. The future is scary given what we're seeing. If keeps I hope things don't keep going in the same trend that we're seeing right now, because if it does, we're all doomed. However, I'm going to be a little bit optimistic. I think a lot of these people might grow out of this at some point. I don't know. I hope so. But anyways, we have to do our part. We have to respond to it. We can't just hope. Hoping is not enough. We have to do something about it. And that's what we're doing here in this channel. We're responding to a lot of this nonsense. So thank you so much for supporting this channel and helping us do that. So I have a lot of videos today. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go through all of them. There's a lot of nonsense in each one of them, and I talk a lot. Last time we were supposed to do 5 videos, and I think we did one. We did one because in 2 minutes we spent 1 hour reviewing a 2-minute video because there was that much garbage packed in 2 minutes. It took us 1 hour to unpack all of that. So I have 5 videos today. I don't know how many. Guess how many I'm gonna get through today. I don't know. Maybe I should just try talk more concise. We'll see. Anyways, we are so far. Let me actually show this to you guys. So far, we are monetized. Which is actually, let me refresh. Let me see if we're still monetized because the time. Oh no, we're not. Never mind. We are not monetized. We are not monetized, people. Let me request a review. This is going to take a couple of days. By that time, most of the views are already gone, so that's not going to be that helpful. But guys, we are not monetized, okay? It's gone. We have been demonetized, which sucks, but we already got a super chat at the beginning of the show, so that makes up for a little bit of it at least, so thank you for that. Oh, we got another super chat. Thank you. Razel is saying that's okay. We love you. Well, thank you. We got 2 super chats today. These are good that make up for the fact that we have been demonetized. But also, guys, if you don't use the super chats, it's okay. Just make sure you. I mean, it's better if you do. But there's an alternative. There's a free version of you supporting the show because you guys don't know, when we get demonetized, we also get deprioritized, right? So when you get demonetized, the algorithm works against you unless people see the show. But if you like the stream with a low price of $0, spending 0 cents, you could like the stream and help more people watch the stream. Okay, so at least like the stream, at least do that. It takes you 1 second, so please go ahead and do that. Anyways, let's get into the first video. Let's start with which one? Let's start with a short one, so at least we could do 2 videos today. How about that? Okay. Let's start with this one. Wait. Let me make sure because I can't read apparently. So instead of reading people's accounts, I will just show you on the screen what account we're talking about today, right? So this is the account that we're talking about today. I want to make sure I give full credit to the accounts when we are using them, because a lot of people on YouTube review videos and you guys can't figure out where it's from. And I see a lot of people doing that, which is not good. So here, when we review a video, I'll try to make sure that we show you where it's from. All right. So anyways, let's get into this. So let's do from the very beginning and go to the, and I'm going to try not to talk until the whole thing is finished, and then we'll respond to it. Okay. All right. Oh, do you think, can you tell which countries videos are coming from? I can't tell. Oh, I could read the explanation Dolly left us for this one. Where is it? Where is this? Let me see. You know what? I'll just play it. You guys could figure out what this is about.
Start taking over my country. Why won't anybody help?
What do you mean nobody is helping you? Haven't the USA given you billions of dollars every single year and are still sending more with the recent bills that passed? On top of that, every country has given you full support since 1948. You know, the year where just the colonizers changed for the Palestinians. I guess you weren't crying for the past 75 years where Palestinians were and are still being killed. Go buy some tissues and leave them alone.
All right, so there's a lot. I mean, how many seconds was that? That was 30 seconds, okay, 27 seconds. And I could spend 1 hour talking about how stupid this comment was, right? But isn't Palestine like one of the most aided countries in the world? I don't know. Let me double check that. I want to double check that. We can. Yeah, it is. Okay, so I don't know why a lot of people. Yeah, it is. Palestine is one of the countries that receives the highest amount of aid in the world. So, okay. So here's the thing. So there's a lady at the beginning that is nervous about her country's existence, the fact that they're being attacked. And this lady is responding to it by being nitpicky. So let's see what the first commentator is saying, right? So first of all, when somebody is in an emotional state, and she has every right to be, if she is an Israeli and she feels under attack, I mean, if you're Jewish, if you're Israeli, and you feel that the world is against you, you have every right to feel that way. Because I know Israel has its allies. I know Israel receives a lot of support from a couple of countries. The good thing is those are superpowers. However, when you look at the attitude of people around the world, if you feel hated, if you feel like Israel is also the only country in the world where this many people around the world think that it should not exist and it should be annihilated, right? And also the trends in the United States and Europe seem to be, with the younger generation, seems to be going against Israel. So, and a lot of these countries, the countries that support Israel, are democratic countries. So if the voter base changes and the views changes against Israel in the future, that support for Israel might not be there. There is also a deep-rooted hatred against Jewish people all around the world. On October 7th, you saw what happened to Israel, and you saw how quickly views turned against Israel right after October 7th, after the greatest attack on Israel and the greatest attack on Jews since World War II. People went from half a day of feeling sorry for Israel to all of a sudden being completely anti-Israel again after the greatest massacre on Israelis and Jews in history after World War II. And actually on Israel's ever, because back then there was no Israel. This is the greatest attack on Israel in the history of Israel. And people became not only more supportive, this was a time that you could see that, okay, we now see why we need Israel. We now see why we have to defend Israel. But not only that, not only people didn't see that, people are now more anti-Israeli than ever before. So it completely makes sense. I mean, I'm not going to be nitpicky about when you say, why won't anybody help us? Like, well, technically, some people are helping you. But really, you want to be nitpicky about the language of somebody that feels alone, isolated, attacked, and also feeling like their country could not exist at some point, given the trend of everything going? I mean, you are a country, she lives in a country where every single neighbor has millions and millions of people in it, and also their neighbors have millions of people that would love to see. There's nothing that they would love to see more than the complete destruction of her country. So yeah, I feel like you want to be like, okay, why won't anybody, like, at the time that she's nervous and crying? I mean, I don't know the entire context of this, what she's saying. Maybe if I see the entire context, it would be my take would be different. But that's what you're showing us. So I'm just judging based on, even if my judgment is wrong, I'm just judging it by what she chose, the few seconds that she chose to show us. Because that's the take that she wants us to have, that this is an Israeli that feels like nobody is helping her, right? Like, are you serious? Like, imagine somebody being that emotional about her being alone, and you want to be nitpicky about the language. That doesn't seem like the right time. She obviously feels alone, and look at the history of Jews throughout history. No other group of people have been this hated and this isolated and this much attacked in the history of the world. In the history of the world, consistently, one generation after the other one empire after the other one. It's independent from geography and time and culture. Hatred of Jews is above culture, it's above time, and it's above geography. Seems to be like something that unites the world, apparently. Right? And imagine her generation being told about the global hatred against the Jews. A lot of them did not believe that. A lot of them, it's hard to imagine that. It's hard to imagine that level of hatred against the Jews. Like, I know a lot of Jewish Americans that were like, yeah, maybe back then people hated Jews this much, but not now. I mean, that was like, yeah, back then, oh yeah, we heard about the Holocaust and World War II, and yeah, but there's still some anti-Jewish hatred, but not that much, obviously. And now this generation of Jews have woken up to be like, oh no, it's still there. It's pretty strong. When Hamas attacked Israel, it didn't even take for Israel to respond to Gaza for people to come out with Palestinian flags and chant against Israel. Chanting stuff that I can't even say on YouTube. Stuff that has to do with gas. Okay, I'm not going to say the whole thing. YouTube is probably very unfriendly to this channel, so I don't know what's going to happen to us if I say that. But you know what I'm talking about, right? There were protests against Israel after October 7th, before Israel even started responding in Gaza. After the greatest attack on Israel, after the greatest number of slaughter of Jewish people in history after World War II, there were anti-Israeli protests. Not just in Islamic countries, but in Western liberal countries. So yeah, this generation of Jews is like, okay, yeah, I see what my grandparents were telling me, and this still is still alive. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. So, excuse me for feeling nervous. Excuse me if I now understand why it's important to defend Israel as a country. And what is her response? Let's listen to her response.
Are taking over my country. Why won't anybody help?
What do you mean nobody is helping you? Haven't the USA given you billions of dollars every single year?
United States gives Israel and Palestine billions of dollars every year, lady. Okay? Mention that. Also, the money United States gives to Israel every year helps Palestinians more than Israelis. Do you guys know why? That is in support of Palestinian lives. To support Israel's right to defend itself and its ability to defend itself is to also support Palestinians. Do you guys understand why? Let me know in the live chat if you understand how morons like this lady don't get why asking for the cease of support for Israel by their country, by United States or other European countries, means more Palestinians will die. Do you understand? For every Israeli that gets killed, Israel requires to respond to show its deterrent capabilities, to be able to do its duty to its own citizens. And for every Israeli that dies, more Palestinians will die. Do you understand that those rockets that are coming to Tel Aviv, when the United States give Israel the capability to shoot them in the sky, they're saving more Palestinian lives every time one of those missiles doesn't land in Tel Aviv than Israeli lives? Every Israeli that gets to live, for every Israeli that gets to live because those rockets didn't hit them, 10 Palestinians get to live. Because if that Israeli had died, Israel would require to retaliate and Palestinians would die. You should want, for the sake of Palestinians, for Israel to be able to defend itself effectively. Do you understand that? Do you guys understand how important it is for Palestinians, for Israel to be able to defend itself? And do you understand how major of a betrayal to Palestinians is for the people who are celebrating or encouraging Hamas attacking Israel? Because that ends up, every time that gets more Palestinians killed. I don't know if people get this. These people, they have blood on their hands. These people, these are the reasons why Palestinians are dying. It's not the IDF. It's not the IDF. IDF is doing its duty. IDF is doing what it's supposed to do as a military. Largely, I know. I'm pretty sure there are some mistakes there. I'm pretty sure that there are bad actors in IDF, like there is in any army in the world. I'm sure we will, if proper investigation, instead of just like blanket accusations against the entire military, if we did proper investigations, we will be able to find examples of wrongdoing, like we'll find in every goddamn military, right? But as a general, the policies of IDF and the methodology of IDF is better than any military in the world. Any military in the world. The standards, no other country can meet IDF. With all the criticism that we could have for IDF, no other military on the planet, no other military ever on the planet has done more than the IDF to try to reduce civilian casualties. So yeah, if any army deserves support, is the IDF. It's doing a just war in Gaza. It's defending a country that needs defending probably more than any other country in the goddamn world right now. And when you support its military, you're supporting not just Israeli lives, but also Palestinian lives. So what are you complaining about? She's crying because she's under attack. She's crying because she doesn't know if she's going to have a country. She's crying because the world seems to be against her. And you're complaining about the fact that they're getting aid. They should get more aid. Israel should get more aid.
And are still sending more with the recent bills that passed. On top of that, every country has given you full support since 1948. You know, the year where just the colonizers changed for the Palestinians. I guess you weren't crying for the past 75 years where Palestinians were and are still being killed. Go buy some tissues and leave them alone.
Yeah, if you care about Palestine, go buy some tissues and leave them alone. How can they leave them alone? They were attacked. Should they leave them alone after they get genocided? Leave them, go buy some tissues and leave them alone. Leave the Palestinians. What do you mean leave them alone? You mean don't respond? When you say leave them alone, you're basically saying Jews, the only thing Jews can do for people like this to be happy is just to take it. It's just to die. There's nothing else they can do for them to be happy. How could you leave them alone? Your country was just attacked. You obviously have to respond. You obviously have to respond. Leave them alone? How is this standard not applied to any other country in the world? Why Israel should leave them alone once they're attacked, but other countries get to respond? Where is the double standard? What the hell are you talking about? Leave them alone? Do other countries leave them alone when they get attacked? Which country are you from, lady? Do you expect your government to leave the country that attacked you alone after you get attacked? What is the standard that you guys have? Any response by Jews are going to be seen as a hate crime. The only thing that Jews can do for the people to be satisfied is to die and just take it. Again, YouTube, not my position. This is what I'm responding to. Unbelievable. I don't understand. Unbelievable. Let's go to the next video. Wow, guys, we managed to make it over one video today, unlike the other day. Okay, let's look at... Okay, let me see. Who is this lady? We have another video. Okay, let's see. This is video. A woman claiming there should be no peace between Israel and Palestine. Okay. And her Twitch account is Sloth Path Doth. Okay. Anyway, I think I managed to read that, so I'm not going to show it on the screen. Yeah, let me just quickly show it. Here, that's her TikTok account. Okay. So let's go back to her. Let's see what she has to say from the beginning to end.
Whenever you bring up Palestine and Israel, and people are being like, I wish we could just have peace on both sides. Who are you asking to chill out here? Every time they're talking about Palestine, every time. When they're talking about, oh, we wish we could have peace, they're talking about Palestine chilling out. As if that fucking do anything. This is colonialism. This is colonization in real time. And you're telling people who are being colonized to chill out. You're telling them, oh, if you just tried for peace. No! You're saying every country who benefit from colonialism back the country that's colonizing, and you're still going, guys, it's a hard issue to describe. It's not a hard issue, it's genocide. 42 Palestinian family lands are completely fucking gone, off the map and never coming back. Thousands of Palestinian children are dead and are dying. The hospital was bombed. They're online, posting pictures of their dogs and animals suffering because Lord knows we won't sympathize enough with seeing them die. And you're on the side of the country who's on Instagram threatening Gigi Hadid, the Palestinian model, for not being on their side. Okay.
Oh, okay. Wait, well, let me listen to that last part one more time.
Completely fucking gone, off the map and never coming back. Thousands of Palestinian children are dead and are dying. The hospital was bombed. They're online, posting pictures of their dogs and animals suffering because Lord knows we won't sympathize enough with seeing them die. And you're on the side of the country who's on Instagram threatening Gigi Hadid, the Palestinian model, for not being on their side. Okay.
Whose dogs are we talking about here? I mean, children dead and dying. I just went to the hospital. Was they're online posting pictures of their dogs and animals suffering. Dogs and okay. Well, I didn't know in Gaza you get to have dogs. I thought Islamically. Does Hamas let you have dogs in Gaza? Anyways, I'm going to respond to this. But before I do that, I want to read the super chat from Phil. Phil is saying, as Ayn Rand said, these people hate Jews because they hate the good for being the good. I'm not a Jew or even seen Israel, and even I comprehend this. Okay. Okay, well, thank you so much, Phil, for the super chat. I just want to make sure that, guys, Jews are as. Thank you so much, Phil. I saw you also give us a super chat at the beginning of the show, and we have been demonetized, so we do need these super chats, guys. So keep them coming. I just want to mention, guys, that Jews are as diverse as any other group of people out there. Okay, I mean, well, not exactly as, but like you know what I'm talking about, right? So we have good Jews, we have bad Jews, we have evil Jews, we have the Jews that are amazing people, better than anybody that you have ever met. Okay, so this is a diverse community. Okay, we have fascist Jews, we have Jews that have dedicated their lives to make the world a better place, right? We have racist Jews, we have anti-racist Jews, we have every kind of Jew that you want. Okay, there are a diverse group of people. They're a very diverse group of people. How can they not be? There are millions of them, right? Oh, thank you so much, random string of characters, for the gifting somebody in the live chat a membership. I appreciate that. All right, so let's respond to this lady. She wants just war forever unless Israel. I think she wants no peace. She wants no peace. When I say, how could you negotiate with people with this attitude? And again, people with this attitude are a lot of pro-Palestinians, unfortunately. And this position that this lady has is extremely anti-Palestinian. Even though they act like they're pro-Palestinian, this is more harmful even to Palestinians than it is to Israel. She wants no peace with the so-called colonizers because they're colonizers. First of all, lady, they're not colonizers, but your country, I don't know where she's from. Is she American? Because based on her argument, we should be at war with the United States, with Canada, with Australia, and with almost every single Arab country except Saudi Arabia. I mean, you want colonize countries that became countries because they colonized. I have news for you, lady. We should be at war with Egypt, apparently, because that was an Islamic takeover of that land. That land was not always Islamic. There was a Islamic colonization happening there. You know, it's Arabized because it's an Arab takeover. We have around 22, I think, Arab countries, and only one of them was originally Arab, which is Saudi Arabia. So 21 Arab countries we should be at war with, according to this lady's standards. But interestingly, Israel is not one of them. Because the lands I mentioned, people came and took over by force, like United States, Canada, Australia, and all of that, and all these Arab countries. Israel was not like that. Israel was like, this place was not a country, and there was a whole bunch of empty land, and Jews were being attacked all around the world. And yeah, this was a place where it was not a country. There was plenty of empty land for everybody to go around. And it was an area where countries were being made left and right. So it made complete sense for making an Israeli state and a Palestinian state next to it at the time. And if there was not that much anti-Jewish hatred in the world, it would have worked out for everybody. This was not an act of colonization because there was no country there and there was empty lands there at the time of the beginning of the creation of Israel. So yeah, this argument that she's making is more anti these other countries that I mentioned than Israel. But if you agree with her argument that there should be no peace with Israel, that means more dead Palestinians. Again, let me tell you how this works. I mentioned this in the previous streams, but I think I need to repeat this many times because this is a very important point for people to understand, right? Why do we have wars? Like, what makes people fight each other, right? Because if people are in two states or two nations are at war with each other, it's because both sides believe that they should fight. right? Or else, if one of them is convinced that they shouldn't be fighting, one of them would surrender and the fight would be over. The war would be over. So why would both sides continue with the war? Because both sides have hope that there is victory or there's some achievement with war. So, or if one side believed that there would be no achievement from continuing this war, they would surrender and the war would end. So for you to end the war, one of these two sides or both has to get convinced that, yeah, we're not going to be able to achieve anything with this war. Right? So when it comes to Israel and Gaza, both the Israeli side thinks that, yeah, we should continue this fight because there's an achievement at the end of it. And the Palestinian side, namely Hamas, thinks the same. And a lot of people in Gaza who support that idea. Either both or one of these groups are wrong. If one of these groups is wrong, I would like you to guess which one of these groups is wrong. What do you really think the Palestinians have any hope in being able to achieve victory if, especially, the goal is the annihilation of Israel? Who do you think has a chance? Because one side, by the way, Netanyahu is not defining what they're trying to do, which is stupid. Their definition of their achievement was the completely removing Hamas, seems to be unachievable. The goal should have been defined as removing Hamas's ability to rule over Gaza. That should have been the definition of this war. I wish that they defined it like this, because that is a very good goal to have, which is accomplishable, right? The annihilation of Hamas, unfortunately, is not accomplishable. But what is the goal on the other side? Is it the two-state solution? Is it Israel pulling out of Gaza and the West Bank? Is it giving the Palestinians the right to have Palestine as a country and the right for them to determine their own destiny and have politicians that they could elect and one day having peace and prosperity for their people and politicians that represent them and the right for them to govern themselves? Is that the goal? No. I wish that was the goal. I mean, that would be something that we want on this side. I want Palestine to one day be a country. Has never been a country, but I wish it could be one day a country. But that's not what they're fighting for. They're fighting because that would mean what? Why? Because that would mean peace with Israel. We can't have that. Peace with Israel? Oh my God. How dare you even think about that? So what are they fighting for? They're fighting for just fighting with Israel until the end of Israel. She's making the option of peace with Israel not even something that they could comprehend. How could you negotiate with people who think like this? She's asking for forever war. She's asking for more dead Palestinians. Do you understand that defining this as your goal? So they're not asking for a Palestinian state. They're asking for the annihilation of Israel as a nation state. They're asking for genocide while calling the other side genocidal. This lady is asking for genocide of Jewish people. And theirs call the other side genocidal. This recipe, this mindset is the most anti-Palestinian position that you could advocate for. This is the best thing to push for if you want to see dead Palestinians. If you're not even if you can't conceive an end. But a lot of pro-Palestinians, of so-called pro-Palestinian advocates, unfortunately think like this. They don't even have an end in sight. As long as Israel exists as a country, you should keep fighting. Who's dying more from this war? Palestinians. So if you want to continue this is misery for Palestinians. This is encouraging more Palestinian children watching their parents dying and more parents watching Palestinian children dying. This is more Palestinians losing their home. This is more Palestinians going hungry. This is a generation of traumatized Palestinian children that probably are going to go become radical and terrorists themselves. How could you want this? How could you advocate for this? You're seeing the results. You're seeing the results. This is your ego over the lives of children. And she's not even paying the cost. These are the most anti-Palestinian people in the world. The only way that you could save Palestine, this is going to sound heartless, but it's the most kind thing you could ever say. It's going to sound evil, I know it. But it is the most kindest thing you could do for the Palestinians is to take away their hope for victory. Because there is no victory for fighting. But you know what? Your ego, the idea of weakness because accepting defeat, your desire to not accept defeat over a superior opponent, apparently is stronger than your desires to see your children live. There is no shame in accepting defeat if that gets you to see your children grow in a safe, prosperous environment where there's hope for the future, where there's hope for stability rather than hope for conquering your enemy. You replace one hope with another hope. Replace the hope for crushing Israel and killing Jews with the hope that you get to kiss your child goodnight at night under a roof with a belly full of food. That is the hope that you should be aiming for. Because the more these people tell you that you need to keep fighting, and the more you're convinced by that, the more you're going to hold your dead children in your arms, watching their mother crying her eye out. This is going to be your future, one generation after another, because people like this have managed to convince you that you need to keep fighting. Egypt stopped fighting. Egypt accepted that Israel should be. And Egyptians are now better off than you. They surrendered. Oh, how shameful. Wow. Well, what do you want? What do you want? You want to not feel shame of surrender? Or do you want to see your kids alive? Just take the shame. Jordan accepted Israel as a country. And Jordanians are now better off than Palestinians. Japan accepted defeat. They surrendered. And they're now one of the largest economies in the world. Germany accepted defeat and they surrendered. And now just recently, they're even bigger than Japan. They're the largest economy of Europe. Look at the history of other people's accepting defeat. Do you prefer to be a German, a Japanese, or even an Egyptian that has to live with the shame of accepting defeat to Israel, but they get to hug their children at least at night? And you don't get to do that because you were convinced that maybe there is a victory at this point. And hey, even if there isn't, if I die, there's victory in the next life as a martyr. These people have blood on their hand. These people have Palestinian blood on their hand. Anyways, let me read the super chat. Phil, thank you so much for another super chat, guys. Again, I appreciate it because these streams constantly get demonetized, and I appreciate you guys support the channel. But make sure if you're not using super chat, at least make sure you like the stream because that really helps as well, right? So Phil is saying there are diverse attitudes due to everyone being an individual, but as I reason, Israel is the only legitimate nation in the Middle East simply because of its regard for citizens' rights. Well, I think every nation state is, as long as they're recognized by the United Nations to be a nation state, is a legitimate nation state. Even, you know, I mean, what do you mean by legitimate? I mean, a lot of them, I endorse international laws and international laws. I think that's the best way we have to support international laws for the peace and prosperity around the world. We need to have a global standards and agreement, right? And that's why, as long as your country is being recognized as a nation state, everybody should support it. So even if I'm against the state, I still support that country's right to exist, right? So, for example, I'm against the government of Iran. I'm against the government of North Korea, right? I'm against the government of Russia. But am I against Russia? No, I'm not against Russia. I'm against the government of Russia. Am I against North Korea? No, I'm against the government of North Korea. Am I against Iran? No, I'm against the government of Iran. I'm not against Iran. I'm not against North Korea. I'm pro-Russia. I'm anti-Putin, but I'm pro-Russia. I'm pro every freaking country that is out there. Every single one of them. The reason why we spend more time defending Israel than other countries, because other countries' rights to existence are not being challenged as much. Like even people that are against, I don't know, Russia, right? Like I'm pro-Ukrainian. I'm pro-Ukraine's defense against Russian government, but I'm not against Russia existing, obviously. I am extremely against the Islamic Republic of Iran. But obviously I am pro-Iran. But how is it that even when it comes to Israel, why is that this, people have a different standard? Like, go look at other people who are anti-Putin, who are even use vocabulary like, yeah, we're against Russia. But if you ask them, like, do you want Russia to like be annihilated as a country? They're like, no. Right? But they say that about Israel. Why is the double standard? Yeah, okay. I'm against the Likud party. I'm against Netanyahu. I'm against the far-right party right now in Israel's government. I am against them. But why is it that when it comes to Israel, being against their government all of a sudden translates to being against the entirety of the country? What the hell? Why is there a double standard? Is it because they're Jews? Because I think it has something to do with them being Jews. This is anti-Semitism. The double standard. Tell me the other reason. There is no other reason. Everything you want to say against Israel, I can find it more in other countries. And people are not so widely against the existence of that country. Why is that Israel so special? It's because people hate Jews. There is no other thing that sets it apart. Anyways, let's go to the next video. We're doing good, guys. We could do more videos today. Let me see which video are we going to do. I want to make sure that we get to what is number 4 about. What is number 4? Is this a good video to do? Number 4 saying anti-Israel supporter. Okay. This is a short one. Should I do this? Making fun of Israeli? No, I already did that one. 2. No, I don't want to do this one. Okay, let's do this one. Number 3. Yeah, this guy is famous, right? Yeah. Bassem Yusuf. So let's see what he has to say. So Dolly gave us an explanation. So he's an Egyptian influencer claiming from the river to the sea chant is not anti-Semitic. Wow. Okay, and also this is from the TikTok channel. Oh, it's Middle East Eye. I know Middle East Eye. Okay. Let's see why from the I haven't seen this actually. For how many seconds? This is 3 minutes. Ooh. Okay, that's a long one. All right. Should we do this one? Yeah, let's do it.
People who shouting from the river to the sea are not really Islamic. And they don't, and many of them don't even agree with Hamas. The river to the sea is a Palestinian chant, it's not an Islamic chant. That's number one. Number two, from the river to the sea is not coined by the Palestinians, it's coined by the Israelis. It's in the Likud party chart in 1977. They say from the sea to the Jordan, there are only going to be Israeli sovereignty. So they coined the thing before that. Second of all,
okay, so first of all, it says it's not Islamic. Okay, these are points you're supposed to make for why the river to the sea. If the point he's trying to make is that why this chant from the river to the sea, Palestine should be free, it will be free, is not anti-Semitic. First of all, it's more than anti-Semitic. It's genocidal. Okay, in my opinion. But first, he says it's not Islamic. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I can connect it to Islam if you want. I could show you how it can be Islamic. But let's say it's not Islamic. Okay. How does that make it not genocidal, not anti-Semitic? Are you saying is this guy a Muslim? Because that's such an anti-Islamic take. Are you saying the only way to be genocidal is with Islam? Wow, because that's very a bold claim. I am anti-Islam, aggressively anti-Islam. And I think that's unfair to Islam if somebody makes that point. Like, how could this be bad or genocidal? It's not Islamic. Okay, sir. There are ways to be genocidal outside of Islam. I mean, I kid you not, Hitler was not a Muslim. And he did the Holocaust. So, like, yeah, I mean, what is it even that point? I'm pretty sure people being Muslim makes it more likely for them to be anti-Semitic, but they could be anti-Semitic in non-Islamic ways. Even though you being Islamic encourages you to be anti-Semitic based on your ideology, if you take your ideology seriously. I know there are a lot of Muslims that don't even know their ideology, and they're good people and peaceful people, and they don't understand their own religion. But if you want to take your religion seriously, it does encourage you to be anti-Semitic. And then once you're encouraged to be anti-Semitic, you could be anti-Semitic in non-Islamic way and chant from the river to the sea. So there's that. Then he says the origin is from the Likud party. Two wrongs doesn't make it right. Let's say, first of all, even if they said that, I doubt that their intention was to be genocidal. Okay, are they saying they want to control the entire area? By the way, I'm against the Likud party because they're against it. You know, one of the many reasons I'm against the Likud party is because they have made it very difficult, if not impossible, to have a two-state solution. Right? They don't want a two-state solution, and I can believe, I don't even know if they said this, but I can believe that they said that they want to control from the river to the sea. Yeah, and okay, screw them. Screw the Likud party. How does that justify from the river to the sea chant? I know people within the Israeli government right now that are genocidal, right? I mean, Ben Gvir seems to be a fascist, right? So, do I have some of his quotes? Is that, how do you pronounce his name even? Yeah, he has said some things that are. Is that his name? Did I read? Okay, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Ben. Anyways. So those idiots, there are two far right parties in Israel that have really, even within Israel, people don't. I mean, why do I say even? Especially against Israel, in Israel, there are many people that are against this government, and especially these far right parties. I don't know if these people do mention you that Israel had recently had the greatest mass protests in the history of the Middle East against their government, against the people that you're naming. So like, oh, well, the Likud party said that. Like, okay, screw the Likud party. How does this justify this chant? If anything, as somebody who's against the Likud party, wouldn't that make it more justifiable that this is a bad chant? I mean, aren't you, sir, against the Likud party? So how are you now endorsing, like, oh, well, it started with them? Okay, wouldn't that mean more reasons for you to be against this chant rather than supporting it? How is that a win for you? How is that a win for you? Anyways, we got a couple of super chats. Let me actually really go through the super. Oh, thank you, Dolly. So, first super chat by Ghost of Day in Person. Okay, thank you so much. Saying, I've been meaning to thank you guys for your important work. It's also cathartic for me. I almost read that as Catholic. For me, as a Jewish atheist, I often feel hopeless and beyond frustrated. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I went to Israel, and there's a lot of atheist Jews in Israel. I met a lot of them. Jeremy, thank you so much for the super chat, for the $5 super chat, saying, I now get why the Palestinian government never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. That's a good point. Thank you so much. And super chat, wow, guys, thank you guys for being so generous today. We got so many super chats today. Cleo saying, my family left their home in partition for the creation of Pakistan. Somehow that flies under the radar, but Israel is evil. I wonder what's the difference. The difference is that there were no Jews involved. There were no Jews involved, so people don't care. Okay, there's the deep-rooted level of hatred against Jews that exists around the world, means that people care about this conflict because there's no opportunity that the world misses to condemn the Jews. That's the reason this war and this moving of people and the war and the country defending itself gets this much attention. And that's why we need to defend this country more than other countries, because guys, when we defend Israel, we're not just defending Israel. When we are defending Israel, we're defending certain standards, global standards that are being threatened, right? We're defending international norms and standards and regulations that has made the world a much more peaceful place since World War II, such that the world has never seen before. The level of stability and peace that we enjoy right now. Here's the thing. Let me say this before I read this last super chat. Okay. It's always the Jews first. It's always the Jews first. The Jews are like a canary in a mine, right? When they want to, if you don't stand strong when it comes for the Jews, when all these standards, all these norms, all these global agreements that we have, the Achilles heels is the Jews. Because if you want to take the world liberal order down, if you're an Islamist or a wokish leftist, and you're against this entire world liberal order that has made all our lives better. In the past 100 years, we have benefited from this unimaginably. Like the amount of food, the amount of comfort, the amount of peace, the amount of healthcare, the amount of water, the amount of everything that you enjoy, it's unimaginable. The kings and emperors and queens and the lords of For 10,000 years of the history of civilization, nobody imagined living like you do today. Nobody imagined being this sure that you're not going to die from violence, the level that we have that we're enjoying in the world today. Nobody imagined being able to see most of their children grow up older than 5. All right? This is something that we have that we need to keep. But the hatred for Jews is so much that if you want to come for these standards, you come for the Jews. And if you don't stand up right now and defend Israel, to stand up for these international standards that accepts and recognizes Israel as a country, then you are playing with fire, because then the entirety of the system is at question. If we don't uphold it for Israel, then we can't uphold it for any other country. So guys, we're not defending Israel when we're defending Israel. We're defending the planet. Same thing goes with Ukraine. When we're defending Ukraine against a challenge, against the internationally recognized borders around the world, we're not just defending Ukraine. We're defending the planet. Because these are the standards that we're defending. A standard. We're defending liberalism. We're defending secularism. We're defending international agreements. These are the standards that we're defending. So it's not just Ukraine. It's not just Israel. When we defend the woman life freedom in Iran, movement in Iran, we're defending certain values for the world, not just those people. Anyways, far for the foul. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat saying, how many times does the Quran mention Palestine? Well, 0 times. 0 times. It mentions Israel a lot, though. But thank you for that good question.
When I criticize Israel, I criticize it because it's in a position of power. I'm absolutely no fan of Hamas, and you know from my
look at this mindset. When I criticize Israel, it's because Israel is in a position of power. I am no fan of Hamas, but I criticize Israel because they're in a position of power. This is such a defeatist attitude. This is a far left idea. So, guys, let me introduce you with this concept, okay? Far right people think might is right. If you are powerful, if you're in a position of power, you must be right. Far left people think that if you're in a position of power, you must be, there's something wrong with you. You must be wrong. The underdog needs defending. Both of these positions are idiotic. Whether you're in power or not in power is irrelevant to whether or not you're right. You could be in power and be attacked by a bunch of weak barbarians. That because they're weak, it doesn't make them right. It doesn't make you wrong because you're stronger. This is why liberalism is the perfect in between. Here's the thing. The attitude of might is wrong punishes success. But we want success. Leftists, a lot of far leftists, are against anybody who's in power. So if you succeed, if you use the methodology and the standards and the values that makes your country more prosperous, gives your country more power to defend its citizens, we would be against you. Do you know how much of a defeatist mentality is that? You should be happy. You should be proud that your country managed to be stronger to defend its citizens. Why are you anti-power? You should want power. Power means safety, security. Why are you guys anti-positions of power? This is why liberalism. So here's the thing. This is why both far-right people and far-left people hate liberals. Do you know why they hate liberals? Far-right people hate liberals. No, far-left people hate liberals first. Let me say that. Far-left people hate liberals because liberalism works. And when it works, it makes you powerful. And because you're in power, then the leftists will be against you. You know, when Israel was weaker, when it was a baby country, you know, leftists were not this much against Israel. A lot of them. I mean, a lot of them were because they were Jews, but many of them were less. But as Israel becomes powerful, it falls within far leftist ideology that they're evil. Liberalism works and it achieves power because it works. But far right people hate liberals because liberals use that power to defend the weak. So they're hated by far leftists because they're powerful. They are hated by far right people because that power is used to defend the weak. And the weak should be wiped out according to the far right. Right? You should want power. You should go for power. And you should use that power for good, which Israel is. Israel is responding to an attack on its country. Every country's government's responsibility is to respond. If you don't respond, you're betraying your own people. You're not showing your deterrent capabilities. That's the whole point of having an army. That when you're attacked, you advertise to the whole world your deterring capabilities. If you don't demonstrate that, you have failed your own citizens. And guess what? Every time you do that, citizens die. Every time you do that, citizens die. But if you don't do that, more citizens die. More civilians will die. So you have to choose the lesser evil. Anyways, let's continue with this.
History in Egypt. The Muslim Brotherhood doesn't like me, and I don't like them either. I am against a theocracy, and I'm against religion being in politics, and that's why I find it very hypocritical from Israel saying that we are a secular, democratic state, and at the same time, just like we are a Jewish state. What are you? Are you a theocracy or a democracy? Are you?
Okay, you're an idiot. First of all, Jewish refers to multiple different things. Jewish refers to ethnicity, a culture, and a religion, right? So when you say Israel is a Jewish state, are you talking about the demographic of the country, or are you talking about the rules of the country? If you say, for example, Norway is a white country. So Israel, when you say Israel is a Jewish country, if you're talking about Jewish as a religion, are you talking about the majority religion of its population? Because, for example, I could say, like Tunisia, for example, is a Muslim country, a Muslim majority country. Are you talking about Jewish majority, as in most of the most widely religion in that country is Jewish? You know, I could say United States is a Christian country. By that, I wouldn't use that language, but somebody could mean by a Christian country, a Christian majority country. Not that it's not, United States is a secular country, but it's also a Christian majority country. So if I say United States is a Christian country, what am I saying? I have to ask that person to clarify. Are you saying that it's a Christian majority country, or are you saying the laws are Christian? Is the government Christian? Because if you're talking about the government, no, United States is a secular country. If you're saying it's a Christian country because it's Christian majority, then yes, you have a point. So again, when somebody say Israel is a Jewish country, they need to clarify. They need to clarify two things. Are they talking about the religion or the ethnicity? If they're talking about the religion, are they talking about it being a Jewish majority country, or are they talking about the government being run by Jewish laws. Because if it's not by Jewish laws, then it is secular. And here's the thing, secularism is not binary. It's a spectrum. For example, Israel's government is more secular than its neighbors. Is it as secular as I like it to be? No. It's not as secular as Canada, is not as secular as United States, is definitely not as secular as France, which I like. I like the level of secularism of France. I like the level of free speech of United States, and I like the level of secularism of France. Is Israel that secular? No. Is it more secular than every other Islamic country out there and every other Arab country? Yes. So it's a spectrum. I wish it was more secular, but Israel is strong, is a strong country largely because of the level of secularism that it has. And it has that. It has that. When I went to Israel, I saw something that I didn't like. I saw in Tel Aviv a court, a Sharia court, a taxpayer-funded Sharia court in Tel Aviv. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people don't know that in Israel, the government pays courts for Muslims to have their own Sharia laws for their personal affairs, for personal law, for family law. They have Sharia courts in Tel Aviv, which goes against what a lot of people assume about the government of Israel. Did you know that Jews in Israel pay taxes, and they're part of that tax? I will read that a little bit later once my point is finished. Okay. Do you know that Jews in Israel, Jewish people, some of their tax money goes into Sharia courts? Again, that is a fun fact to know about Israel because it's the opposite of what people think. But at the same time, I don't like it because it's against secularism. So that, if when you say Israel is a Jewish state, is a Jewish country, if you mean religion, if you're talking about the population, I agree. If you're talking about the government, I disagree. It's not a Jewish state because the laws are not based on Judaism. If you're talking about ethnicity, so see, you have four. When you say Israel is a Jewish country, there are four possible things it could mean. You could either mean that the population is Jewish by religion. It could mean that the laws are Jewish by religion. That's number two. Number three, you could mean that the ethnicity of the population there is mostly Jewish. Or you could mean that the government is an ethno-state, meaning that they have laws that prefer Jewish ethnicity. Which one of these four are you saying? The first one has nothing to do with secularism. You could be majority certain religion and the laws could still be secular, which it is in Israel. The second one would be the only one that would challenge the secularism of Israel, which is not the case in Israel. The second one is true about Israel. Ethnic-wise is majority Jewish. The fourth one is not true about Israel, but even if it was, it would not make it secular. If Israel had laws that made the ethnic Jewish people had preferential treatment for ethnically Jewish people, that would make it bad, but it would not make it not secular. It would make it an ethno-state. But no, that's not the case for Israel. The laws in Israel does not have any preferential treatment for Jews. If anything, unfortunately, it's the opposite. The only thing that you can find in Israel that Arabs and Jews have different laws for them is that Arabs get preferential treatment. Because the only double standard is that Jews have to serve in the military and Arabs don't. Except the ultra-Orthodox ones, that's also something that I'm against. But that's a very small minority. But Arabs don't have to serve in the military, and Jews have to. So the bias is against the Jews, largely. And I know there are some laws that are based on religion, which is a few of them. Almost every country has that. But that's why I think that secularism is a spectrum. And I criticize that. I'm against those. We got a super chat. Oh, sorry. Okay. We got a super chat from HD Drake saying, last I checked, France was a French country. Why is Israel being Jewish country any different? Yeah, because they hate Jews. France is secular, and if you say France is French, that does not violate France's secularism. So saying Israel is a Jewish country because that could refer to their ethnicity, that does not violate their secularism. But this person is an idiot, so I don't know if he understands these things. But thank you. That's a good point. Japan is like Japanese. Japan is Japanese. France is French. They're both secular, but apparently Israel can't be Jewish.
You something like for the secular for everybody, or you just like or exclusively for the Jews? And so that's why is it like?
How dare you say that? How is Israel exclusively secular for the Jews? Show me, like, almost everybody knows that Arab citizens of Israel enjoy the rights and freedoms of other Israelis. You know this. You must know this. Then you are lying. You freaking hypocrite.
When the West talks about everything, it's liberal, secular, democratic. Only when it comes to Israel, it's biblical. Why? You know, that's the problem. Try to convince me that Israeli have more right in this land, more than Palestinian, without using religion.
Why should they have the same rights for Palestinians? They're not part of their freaking country. Are you serious? Why should Israel give Israel citizens their rights, that the rights and freedoms that their citizens enjoy, to the people of a neighboring state? What are you talking about? Do Canadians and Mexicans enjoy the rights of American citizens? Why would does France, when they decide that, okay, let's give a new right to citizens of France, does anybody come and complain? Well, like, okay, these rights that we're giving our citizens, should we give those rights to Germans? Like, no, we are writing these laws for our citizens. Why would any country, I mean, if they were deciding the rights and laws and freedoms of Palestinians, wouldn't you call them a colonizer even more? Wouldn't you be like, wait a minute, shouldn't their government decide the rights and freedoms of their citizens? Why are you deciding the rights and freedoms of their citizens? What are you talking about? You're like, oh, Palestinians do not enjoy the same rights of Israelis. Why would they? Why would a government of a country decide the rights and freedoms of people that are not their citizens? What are you talking about? Of course, every single right that you decide should apply to your... This is why he says Palestinians instead of Arabs. How about Arab citizens of Israel? Focus on them. They are the ones that you decide the rights of. Do Arab citizens of Israel enjoy the same rights? That's what you should be comparing, you fucking moron. They do. Hey, I have news for you. They do. The 20% Arab population of Israel has the same rights as the Jews of Israel. Even more rights, actually. More freedom. They have the freedom not to serve in the military. What has religion got to do with this, by the way?
Israeli have more right in this land, more than Palestinian, without using religion.
I don't understand what you're talking about. People think that rights are like something in nature. Like, try to argue to me that they have more rights. Moron, rights are some things that we agree upon. Okay? Maybe in one country we're like, okay, should we give the people the right to, do this? And people are like, yeah, let's do it. And the neighboring country were like, no, that should be illegal in our country. Right? And maybe the citizens, if they're both democratic and liberal, Country A might be like, yeah, we actually like to be able to do this in this country. And country B, the citizens are like, no, we probably want to keep that limited. Laws, rights are not something, the only rights that we want to be for everybody everywhere are the ones that we have in the UN Charter, okay? Human Rights Charter that we have in the UN, right? Everything else is, well, like, we're like different. In one country, they're like, okay, everybody has to serve in the military. And people are like, yes, we want that because we are like, we're surrounded by our enemies. And other country, we're like, nope, we don't want that. We want to not make that mandatory. Laws are decided that rights are based on laws, right? And laws are agreements that people come up with. It's not ingrained in nature. It's not gifted from, it doesn't fall down from heaven. Okay, it's not gifted to you from God, and it's not a deep part of nature. It's an agreement that people come up with based on how they want to run their society. Okay, and people from different countries have different rights and freedoms based on what they think is best for the country. Right? So they would not be equal. What we advocate for is equal rights and freedoms for citizens of a country. We want one law for each country. We don't want, because we want citizens to be treated as equally. So if one country has different laws for different citizens, that is wrong. But if two citizens of two countries have different rights and freedoms, as long as the minimum that we agreed in the United Nations is that they have that, the rest could be different. Because that's based on the right to self-determination. They determine their own the way to govern themselves. As long as it's a democracy and people have the right to decide who their representatives are, it will be different. I think this person is like, oh, convince me that Palestinian the Israelis should have more rights. In what? You have to come up with specific examples. This is why we want Palestine to become a country, so that they could make these decisions themselves. But guess what? People like you, who encourage Palestinians to keep fight against Israel, have made it so that Palestine is not a nation state, and they can't decide to choose the rights and freedoms for themselves, because you have told them to focus on annihilating Israel rather than building Palestine. This is the reason why they don't have rights. The reason why Palestinians don't have rights is not because Israel is taking it away from them. It's because they have been busy fighting Israel to destroy Israel rather than building their own country so that they could have a nation state that, with politicians that represents their demography, their people, that establishes laws that they like. Laws that will ensure their rights and their freedoms. That's why they don't have rights. HD Drake, thank you so much for the super chat. Guys, today we got so many super chats, which has made it easier for me to be able to say whatever I want, because I don't have to care about monetization. So thank you so much for that. HD Drake is saying, how would Canadians feel if Americans decided they don't have a right to nationalize healthcare? Yeah, exactly. Right? Or what if Singapore decided that Malaysians should not be able to chew gums as well, because Singapore apparently has decided to ban chewing gums, right? So apparently Malaysians enjoy more freedoms when it comes to gum chewing than the Singaporeans. I don't see people like, hey, if Singaporeans can't chew gum, then Malaysians should not be able to either. Never. Somebody saying, stop defending Israel. Yeah, I am atheist. What does it got to do with defending Israel? I defend every country. People are like, oh, how could you defend Israel? You're an atheist. Like, I defend every freaking country. Every single one of them. I defend every country because I am in support of international laws, which recognizes every single country's border integrity. Me being against the government does not mean that I'm against the country. No, that guy is not Nazi. That guy is Hindu. That symbol, the swastika he's using, is because he's Hindu, not because he's Nazi.
They can't. Because it's like even the liberal Zionists, they're all about, oh, we're atheists, we don't believe in God, but it is the God gave them to them. They're promised people, promised land, promised by whom? Chosen people, chosen by whom? The God, my God, your God, whose God? As an American,
You freaking moron! That is not the argument. Okay, screw every single religion out there, including Judaism. Okay, we defend Israel not because it's in the freaking Torah or the Bible or because it's promised to them. Like, what are you saying? Are you saying Israel shouldn't exist as a country? Because, like, oh, you guys are defending Israel because it's promised by God? Okay, so no, we're not defending Israel because of that. We're defending Israel because it's recognized as a country by the United Nations. Okay, so we don't recognize the authority of God. We recognize the authority of the international norms and standards that has made the world such a better place. That's the authority that we recognize, okay? Based on that, not because of God. The historical ties, screw all those arguments. Religious ties, screw all those arguments, okay? How about an anti-genocidal sense? How about Jews? How about the foundation of Israel made sense in a place that there was enough land for people to fit? There was more land and more resources for Arabs and Jews to be able to share. There was enough empty lands for Jews to settle. There was no country there because the Ottoman Empire had fallen, and that place belonged to no one. That place belonged. That there were nation building being happening in that area at that time. So it made sense. I could make so many arguments, so many points for why Israel's foundation was justified without any use of religion or historical ties. It makes absolute sense. The foundation of Israel made absolute sense, given the level of hatred that existed against the Jews around the world, and it still continues to this day. However, even if it didn't make sense, even if it was not justified, it is now a country. It is now recognized as a country, as a nation state. And even if the foundation of Israel was unjustified, it now should be defended. This is a strawman fallacy, just like, oh, did God promise you this? No. We defend Israel because we defend the border integrity of every single other nation out there. That's all you need to know. But we defend Israel more because Israel's existence is challenged more because of the level of anti-Jewish hatred that exists out there.
American, how do I feel?
But he's saying that you are saying this, that makes you not secular. You don't know what secularism means. There are American. So, guys, is America a secular country? Mostly, yes. Again, secularism is a spectrum. United States is more secular than many other countries. Does that mean religion has no influence in their politics? I did not say that. Obviously, it does. But on a spectrum, relative to other countries, United States is more secular. There are many more secular countries than United States, for example, in Western Europe, in Scandinavian country, for example. But relative, on a global scale, United States is a secular country. I can show you many Christians that say, like, the United States is God's country. This is God's favorite country. Does people saying that make United States not a secular country? In fact, this is why we need to defend Israel even more, because there are many people in Israel that are challenging Israel's secularism because of the arguments like this. The very foundation of Israel was based on Zionists that were secular. They were not making religious arguments. The foundation of Zionism was based on saving Jews from global hatred, from global attacks, from anti-Semitism, was not a religious argument. In fact, religious Jews were against the Zionists. The founding fathers of Zionism, the first people that stood up against them were religious Jews. But these idiots don't understand that. Israel, look at the double standard here. Look at the double standard here. He's like, oh, we have Israelis that think that, oh, God gave us this country. Every country has people like that. Based on your standard, no country is secular.
When an American representative wears the uniform of the IDF, when my politicians that I vote to receive their money from special interest group, whether they're APAC or NRA. So suddenly my votes are gone to waste. So now people, and the Democrats are blackmailing us. It's like, oh, if you don't vote for Biden, Trump will come. So what have Biden done to us? And I actually coined a new name for Biden, Joe Biden. Joe Geriatric Genocide Biden.
Okay, okay. If you get Trump, then you freaking deserve it then. You freaking idiot. Like, oh, we didn't like Biden, so let's go with the guy that is even worse, like, apparently. You guys are morons. This is the level of political analysis these people have, right? They don't like one candidate. They don't like another candidate even more. But because they don't like this candidate, they're going to like the other candidate that is even, they don't like even more to come in. This is why you guys should lose. This is why you guys should lose every single politics. I don't understand. This is why the only thing that is making these people succeed is the level of anti-Jewish hatred. This is why anti-Jewish hatred is being weaponized, because these people have nothing. When it comes to politics, when it comes to reason, when it comes to logic, they have nothing. If they didn't have this level of anti-Jewish hatred around the world, they would have lost so easily. And this is why they need to invest in anti-Jewish hatred, because that's the only thing that is making them survive.
The guy is not even like good enough to be a genocide guy. He's geriatric. He's dementic, and I want him to go back down in history, losing this for people, because people need to understand that you cannot. Yes,
as a significant voice in the Arab American community, you're telling me you want Joe Biden to lose.
I want him to lose. I don't care about Trump winning, but I want Joe Biden to win, because this guy, he's one of all we ask for him is ceasefire. Stop the killing. Stop the killing. How?
Ceasefire means more killing, you freaking moron! You idiot! You idiot! Ceasefire now means Hamas will gain back control over Gaza, and you would have to eventually do this thing over again. And more Palestinians will die. Guys, do you understand that the beginning of moving into Gaza always takes much more civilian casualties than the end of it? Because every time you want to go into Gaza, you have to do aerial bombardments. And that will always have more civilian. You can't just move in. No country will ask its soldiers to just walk into such an area without some aerial bombardments at the beginning. And that will always have the highest amount of civilian casualties at the beginning. And once you have this many civilian casualties in Gaza, if you don't accomplish your military objective, you would have to do this over again. Now that the civilian casualties is much less than the beginning of the war, the military objective is to make sure Hamas never regains control over Gaza. You should not leave until you get that military objective. If you leave right now, more Palestinians will die, because the next time you come back into Gaza, you would have to start from the aerial bombardment. This is why these people's arguments kill the Palestinians. Much more Palestinians will die if you listen to this. Much more Palestinians will die if you do a ceasefire right now, before making sure that Hamas will never regain control over Gaza. These people's narratives is killing tens of thousands of Palestinians, and they condemn IDF for it. You're the killer of Palestinians.
Difficult is this? And then you try to blackmail us with reproductive rights and minority rights. And I said yesterday, if a woman, I hope that will never happen, if a woman loses her reproductive rights in Tennessee, she can go to California and get an abortion. If a woman in Gaza, she does have nowhere to go. So you are basically killing that. You are clocking people in, and you are allowing the Israel, who's been a burden on American politics, a burden of American economy, a burden of economy of American best interests in the country.
And it doesn't bother you that Donald Trump, if he were watching this interview, would think, that's fantastic. I've got people like Bassem Youssef saying that he wants Joe Biden to lose the election.
I'm not going to be blackmailed into saying that I'm going to enable Trump to win. The Democrats did that to themselves. And they cannot continue pretending that they are on our side, and then they need our votes during the election, and then for the next 4 years, they screw us up and they kill our people back in the Middle East. So I'm not going to be blackmailed into that. Whatever happens, like it's weird. I've been only a citizen for 4 years. I was so happy that I voted for Bernie Sanders, by the way.
Right.
You know, and then I voted for Biden because I'm blue no matter who. And then I find this. So you know what? America took 4 years in order for me to make me check out of elections. So good job. Good job. Good job, Biden.
This is why you guys lose. This is why you guys lose. You don't understand how to play the game of politics. HD Drake, thank you for the super chats. Guys, please make sure you like the stream. I know a lot of people are supporting us financially, which really helps because all of our streams on YouTube are getting demonetized. But I'm seeing a lot of people are watching on Twitter today. Like 300 people are watching on Twitter the stream. This is amazing. Usually people mostly watch this on YouTube. So guys, if you're watching on Twitter, make sure you come on Atheist Republic YouTube channel and subscribe to us there as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you like this. You like the stream because that will make it more people end up seeing it, and our channel will grow. Atheist Republic channel will grow. We're hitting close to 50,000 subscribers pretty soon. That will be so great for us. So come to YouTube and subscribe to us. So yeah. So thank you to everybody who used super chats to support us financially. But again, don't support us financially if you are not financially secure. You are not allowed to support us financially if you're not financially secure. Everybody else, make sure you just like the stream because that doesn't cost you anything. So, okay, so let me read the super chat by AC Drake saying, how do I suggest videos for you to review? Well, I'm glad you asked. My Twitter, so people who are watching me on Twitter, we're on the Atheist Republic Twitter channel, but my personal Twitter channel is Armin Navabi. If you search for it, it will be the first thing that shows up, okay? So my DMs on Twitter are open. You can send me suggestions there, but I'm mostly interested with people who are DMing me on Twitter who would want to debate me. If you want to support, if you're anti-Israel, I want to debate you. If you're pro-Islam, I want to debate you, okay? I can't think of anything else. Yeah, these two. Okay, mostly these two. Pro-Islamic people, anybody who wants to defend Islam, anybody who wants to have a position against Israel, I would like to debate you, and I have only 3 conditions. You need to have a stable internet connection, you need to have a good microphone, and you need to be able to talk. Like, there's just some speaking ability. Okay, I need to be able to see that you could talk properly. Okay, decent enough English, right? So again, search for Armin Navabi. You can see my name here, Armin Navabi on Twitter. My DMs are open. Okay, cool. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. This has been great. 440 people are watching. This has been a good stream. 300 of them from Twitter, which is amazing. We've never had this many people watching from Twitter. Make sure you follow Atheist Republic Twitter account, but also my Twitter account, Armin Navabi on Twitter as well. Okay, I'm posting a lot of shorts from these streams on there as well. All right, guys, I'm gonna do another stream. I'm trying to do a stream every day, so we're gonna do more review videos from TikTok like this. Thank you so much, Dolly Co, for finding these videos for me to review. If you want to see more stream like this, make sure you subscribe. And subscribing is not good enough. Make sure you hit the bell notification, because when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, YouTube sometimes doesn't tell you that we're live. You also need to hit the bell notification. Make sure you have liked the stream. And if you really want to support us after the show is over, leave a comment under the show. That really helps grow the channel. And also go tell your friends and your enemies, especially your enemies, to come subscribe to the Atheist Republic YouTube channel and hit the bell notification. Anyways, I'm going to head out. See you tomorrow. I have a Persian show coming up on our Persian channel, which is called Jumhuriya Bi Khudayan, which is basically this channel in Persian with an audience mostly in Iran. Okay, so every time I stream on the English channel, and then I go to the Persian channel to stream there for my followers and fans in Iran as well. So I'm going to hop over there. If you speak Persian, come to the channel. It's called Jumhuriya Bi Khudayan. All right, see you tomorrow. Bye. Don't forget to like,